Welcome to Monster Monday. Today we are going to be tackling Near Dark. A couple reasons. Number one is because I bought this a long time ago for $5. This awesome kick-ass Anchor Bay release. It's only a DVD, but it is damn cool, man. I am a big fan of this release here. I haven't watched it since I bought this release because I've never really been a big fan of this movie, honestly. I saw it once. Oh, I did it upside down. Ha! There you go. A little closer. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Don't worry, I didn't scratch it. Although I might have just bent that. So, it is Killer Groups over in Killer Flicks. And this is a group of killer vampires, so I thought it was fitting. I needed a Monster Monday movie, and it was a good excuse to show off my new one of my new shirts that I got from the con here. Hell yeah, the pinks and the purples, they just popped. They're very neon. I don't know how well it shows up on here, but it is very, very neon. I love it. So that's yet another one. And another excuse to use Stephen Arthur's amazing opening song and this cool new intro I have for Monster Monday. So I just look forward to Monster Mondays now for that reason alone. Anyways, let's talk about this movie. Now, I have only seen this movie once before. And as I said, I wasn't a huge fan of it back then. So I was really curious to revisit it now. Another reason that I wanted to revisit it is because Lance Henriksen and Jeanette from Aliens and whatever. I just saw them and met them 2 days ago at this Mad Monster party. I actually sat out and I talked with Lance, me and Cecil and Fuego from the horror show. We sat there and we talked to Lance Henriksen. He was just outside smoking a cigarette, and Cecil went and sat down next to him, and I just kind of came over. And we started talking to him, and Cecil was talking a ton, and then I kind of interjected, and I was like, so did James Cameron really direct Piranha 2, The Spawning? And he was just like, that fucking movie. He got like really mad about it, and at first I thought he was going to get mad at me for even bringing it up, because there's always just been this speculation that Cameron didn't have anything to do with it. He has said many times he didn't, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's just embarrassed of it and this and that. I don't buy it. I don't believe he directed the movie. Like, he did the Terminator after that, and then fucking, or Aliens. Yeah, Terminator, then Aliens. No, the dude's too good. I'm sorry. He doesn't make bad movies. Anyway. So yeah, he got all like angry about it. I was like, fucking, he went on this tangent of like, there was this producer, and he was the biggest fucking douchebag I ever met in my life, and this and that. And then he started denying having any involvement in it, and he wanted Cecil to do this interview with him where he was just going to deny his existence in it, that he was, just going to be like, nope, that wasn't me. Nope, that wasn't me. Like, it was a fucking stunt double, or it was this or that. And it was a funny thing, and then Cecil was all super excited for it. And unfortunately, the next day, as Cecil will tell you, his manager, I guess, was like, no fucking way. Like, you're not doing that. The only thing I can guess is that she doesn't want it to make it look like he's going to trash films that he's in. Because he does make a lot of paycheck movies at this point. He just kind of shows up and plays little bit roles in these cheesy shit low-budget movies. And he rarely does like one that has any kind of merit to it. So I have to guess that's why the agent wouldn't let him do it. But anyways, I'm not here to talk about Lance Henriksen too much. But since he is in the movie, and I just met the guy, and as I said, Jeanette was there from a lot of Cameron's movies, and that's just it. I mean, Catherine Bigelow, who was married to James Cameron. She wasn't married to him at this point, but she was just about to be. And I guess he suggested her take his cast on, because this is 1 year after Aliens, and he has the main three from Aliens here: Lance Henriksen and Jeanette Goldstein, and that's her last name, right? Goldstein, and Bill Paxton. So just a little connectivity there. which is great. We also have Tim from River's Edge, which I'm just such a huge fan of River's Edge. I mention it on the channel so many times, and anytime I see this kid, I always am going to think of him as River's Edge kid, no matter what, whether he's in this or freaking Death Warrant or whatever else. Always, always, always going to be a River's Edge. You gave it to me 2 months ago. Fans of River's Edge here? God, I love that movie. So, oh man, Jenny Wright. Not a woman you see much. She didn't do a ton, but I think this is her biggest role, and she is adorable. Very, very beautiful girl. She kind of reminds me in this, she reminds me a lot of Patricia Arquette in True Romance. Not as ditzy for sure, not as like, you know, brain dead almost. Like don't get me wrong, like she's adorable in that movie, and she's not a total moron, but she's not far off either. She just kind of gave me that feel, that look. So I just realized that right now. I wasn't even thinking of that earlier. Just kind of hit me as I was talking about her. So I thought I'd mention it. Anybody else get that feel from her? Now, this guy here, who is the dude from Heroes, the main character here, he is extremely, extremely persistent and pushy about this girl making out with him or fucking him. He like picks her up, and he's like just keeps like taking her out somewhere, and she's clearly like not all there. She's clearly like in her own world. She's just, you know, she's a couple beers shy of a six-pack, right? That's a fucking Bill Paxton line from Terminator, isn't it? And I don't know, just the way he's pushing and he like pulls her, like she's like, I gotta get home, and she's so nervous. She clearly is terrified of whatever is on the other side of being home late. And he stops the car and puts the keys in his, you know, shirt, and like forces her to make out with him, or he's not going to take her home in time. That's fucked up, dude. Like, that's like near rape. That's some creepy shit. So I wasn't really feeling his character in the opening of this. I was like, am I supposed to like this guy? Am I supposed to, like, I don't know. And the fact that this was directed by a woman, I don't know. This guy is extremely pushy. He's like bordering rape. No shit. For me, like, he just is so pushy. To the point, as I said, like I don't feel like he would have been. It would have been more annoying than anything. But like him shutting the car off when she's in a rush home, and he's like, "Make out with me, or I'm not taking you home." Like, he's trying to be cutesy about it, but I ain't know, because she like is upset at this point. It's not like she's playing back and she's like, "Come on, you got to get me home." Oh my god, like. There's differences. You can tell the signs. This girl doesn't want to do anything. She needs to get somewhere quick. So I don't know. That just rubbed me the wrong way. It really hurt my enjoyability when it came to that character. But overall, I really enjoyed the movie this time around. But I just didn't like that part. But, you know, it is what it is. So I think what this film really focuses on, because the only thing, we don't ever hear the word vampire uttered in the film, I don't think. I didn't notice it. So this is kind of like a zombie movie, where most zombie movies don't have the word zombie actually used in them. And they don't, like, no one is the wiser. No one is using pop culture references or you know, fiction or any kind of thing to, you know, have the upper hand on these vampires or whatever they are. Like in most vampire movies, the people are hyper aware of what they're dealing with and how to deal with them. And this is one of the rare vampire movies I've seen where that's not part of it at all. No one tries to grab a steak or a cross or garlic or any of these common, you know, tropes that vampires have, or should I say weaknesses, which I thought was very interesting. And this movie is more about just the survival of being a vampire, and like trying to duck the sun every day, and it basically having like half the day be, death everywhere, and just having to live in almost this dark isolation. And they really play up the fear of being killed by the sun and how often it comes up and whatnot. Now, the movie plays around with the time a little too much for me, but that's just movie magic. That's just like 1 second the sun isn't up and the next second the sun's like full in the sky. I was homeless for 7 months of my life, okay? I can tell you the sun don't rise that fast. You want it to, but it does not. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I really liked the way that they made their life all about avoiding the sun and feeding. Like, a lot of vampire movies glorify what it's like to be a vampire. It's very romantic and very appealing, and you're beautiful and you have long life and long. This movie doesn't play out like that at all. Like, they're very rugged. Their lives seem to be filled with just nothing but misery and just the next kill and running from the law, which I like that a lot, that they're constantly on the run from the law. Like, they're switching vehicles, they're burning evidence, this and that. They're not just going in, killing people and getting away with it. Like, they actually have tails. They actually have cops coming after them. Like, they're fugitives in this movie, which is a fantastic spin on the vampire subgenre, and it's something that I would love to see addressed much more often. And as I said, they're not typical vampires. They're not clean. They're not suave and debonair and all this kind of thing. Like, they're grungy. They're dirty. They're scarred and they're not well kept and kempt and. Like, I loved the look of the vampires in this, and nobody ever, we don't see any fangs, we don't see any facial changes, we don't see, like, they have extra power, like, they're much stronger than a normal human being, and they can heal themselves faster than a human could, but we don't see it's a vampire movie that isn't really sticking to almost anything vampire. So that I'm all about, because you guys know by now probably that the vampire subgenre is my least favorite. So all these changes is going to put it into like a top 10 vampire film for me personally, because I don't like vampires so much. So when they change it up, it works for me, like this film did. So yeah, I just like the constant run, killing people for food all the time and all that. No, like, that's just it. As I said, they glorify it, like they make it seem like this is what you want and this is, but you don't. I don't know. The thought of having to kill people for substance daily, like innocent people. Like, yeah, you could go out and you could hunt down pieces of shit. Like sometime in this movie, Lance and Jeanette get pulled over. Or pull over to pick up a hitchhiker, and he pulls a gun on him, and the other guy grabs a gun, and it's like, perfect, like, kill these guys. I'm fine with that. But later in the movie, this main dude has to try to, they're trying to get him to be a part of the team to kill this guy. And this guy is just clearly innocent. He's just there, he's playing pool, and he's not doing anything, and he, even when they're attacking and whatever, he just kind of sits there and is frozen, and this guy is complete innocent, and he chases him down. He can't do it, and he lets him go. And it's just, I totally get that. Like, I'm not going to kill somebody so that I can survive. And he keeps feeding off of his girlfriend here to survive. And then they, of course, want him out. The fact that they even took him in, I guess that's more of just this girl's desire to have him part of the crew, but once he's changed, they seem like they have no choice but to protect one of their own. So I feel like almost that's a code that they have. Like, if we change somebody, we got to protect them. We also have a interview with the vampire thing going on here, like Kirsten Dunst's character, where she's a kid for life, like forever, which is just such a bizarre concept of just never aging past a child. and the mentality behind that. But what I found very weird almost, and almost pedophilic, if that's a word, is that his character, I'm guessing he's got to be much older than he is, like considerably, because they talk like they've been around for a while. He's still attracted to little girls, like that. His sister, this guy's main character's sister, who he goes after, the kid from River's Edge. This little girl is like 10, and he looks like he's like 12, and I'm just kind of, I don't know, like I would think he would be into adults, kind of like Kirsten Dunst was, like, and I totally get where her character's coming from, where she's just like, this sucks, like, I'm an older woman, I want to fuck men, but I can't because I'm a child, no one wants me unless I start dating a pedophile, but I don't want to fuck a pedophile. I know she doesn't have that conversation, although I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so it's possible she does, but I just remember her, you know, wanting to be an adult and not being able to, and not being able to have a normal life. That's my memory of the movie. Maybe I'm completely misremembering it. I haven't seen it since the mid-90s, but that was my memory of it anyways. But in this one, I do remember, because I just watched it, and I just found it very odd that he went for a child, as opposed to, like, let's say, you know, the main chick here, Jenny Wright's character, May, right? I feel like that's who he should be fucking into. But maybe he just thinks because he's a kid, that's all he can get, and that's more comfortable that way. But how can you, like, I don't know. That's odd. Maybe his, you know, like physical body, maybe if you stay that age, you retain that desire for people your age. Maybe the chemicals in your body don't change, because that's what starts happening. You get more testosterone, you get more, but I don't know. I feel like when you mentally start getting older, you physically start looking for something older. I don't know. I'm not a fucking kid vampire. I can't talk about it. And I've talked about this for way too long. One thing I do need to talk about for way too long is how fucking badass Bill Paxton is. Another part of that story that I wasn't getting into was Lance Henriksen was, when we were talking to him, some girl came up, and she was talking to him for a minute or two. And she was talking about, like, you know, how she was so excited that she got to meet Bill Paxton right before he died and see them together and all this. And Lance really just, like, kind of sat there, and he told us for, like, maybe 5 minutes about how great of a friend Bill Paxton was, and how, you know, when in between takes, he was the funniest fucking guy, and they would get locked in rooms together for, like, hours and hours and hours on end, and they'd be changing cameras around, this and that. And so they'd have to do is just sit there and talk. And just watching him reminisce about Bill Paxton, who was considerably younger than him, and he has to talk about him in the past tense, was just heartbreaking to me. Because, I mean, in reality, I mean, Lance Henriksen should have died before Bill Paxton. It's just, you know, that's how life should work. Like, you know, the younger people shouldn't die first. That's just sucks when that happens, and just the heartbreak in him. And I'm such a Bill Paxton fan. I've talked about that many, many times. There's so many fantastic roles that he's done. He's the classiest scumbag in cinema to me. He just, no one does it better, and he's fan-fucking-tastic in this film, as always. I mean, I genuinely can't think of a bad Bill Paxton performance. I've seen movies that Bill Paxton's in that I don't care for or don't like, but he's always awesome. I legitimately can't think of a single bad Bill Paxton performance off the top of my head. I'd have to go through his films, but everything he's ever been in, to my knowledge, he's excellent in. So, Bill Paxton, man, what a fucking shame that you're gone. The vampires in this can drink alcohol, but they can't digest food. He tries to eat candy and he vomits it up immediately, but they can get drunk. I don't know. I mean, that's fine. I guess they can, maybe they drink water. I would think they'd get enough liquids from the blood. So do they drink water? They can drink liquor. Maybe it's, I don't know, overthinking that as always, but I just thought that was interesting. When they go into, the style of this film is fantastic. I mean, Catherine Bigelow just really puts her stamp on it. And I think that's ultimately what wins me over, because this is not a thrill-a-minute kind of film. This is a very slow art piece in a way. Kind of has that gritty southern feel to it, or something like like a, not No Country for Old Men, but that's ish what I'm talking about. I love that style, and this film just does it so damn well. So this really shows off her talent here. The the biker at the bar in this movie that Bill Paxton goes up and fucks with and whatnot is the biker that James Cameron uses later on in Terminator 2 that Arnold gets his clothes from. And I looked him up just after to make sure that was him, and I saw that he died in like his 40s or something, which is a shame. But yeah, I just noticed that a little more connectivity. So she took some from him, he took one from her. Give and take, baby. That's what makes a marriage, right? Shootout with the cops was really neat. I like that, where he's just like running out, like the bullet holes are coming through, and it's like, you know, the sunlight is coming through and beating them down. And he like runs out the back, grabs the van, drives it through, drives back through. They're kicking it, and that's like what gets him good in with them. That whole fight and everything is great. The whole bar massacre is great. So really cool scenes, one after the other. And then another thing that's changed here that I've never seen in a vampire movie is a cure for the vampire illness, which is just a blood transfusion, which, I mean, I think that's horse shit for sure. You can't cure HIV or any other kind of fucking blood illness like that, to my knowledge. Once it's in there, like, unless you could figure out a way to get all of the blood out, which I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to pretend that I know what the fuck I'm talking about on that. But I would think you'd have to like pull it all out and put something in there while it's weak and there's very little left to knock it out or something. But just taking some blood out and putting more in, I don't know, like you're drinking blood. Wouldn't that kind of have a similar effect? Whatever. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I've never seen that before, so I thought it was kind of cool. Albeit being not that believable in my head, although I guess it could. Bill Paxton takes a semi, like straight head on, and then just jumps up on the hood. I thought that was pretty great. And then he's like tearing through the hood and through the engine, and we get a semi explosion here, which we get in Terminator, James Cameron, 2 or 3 years previous to this. And there's a scene where May is grabbing the sister to save her, and she jumps out the back window, and if you pay attention, she lands on the kid as she jumps out and then rolls around, and then they just get up and they're fine. They jump out of a speeding car, she lands face first, like on the kid hits the ground first, her body weight is on top of her hitting, and then they get up and she's fine, a scratch, nothing. It is fucking hilarious when it's all edited together the way it is. I like that they blow up in the sunlight. You know, the little kid comes out and he's like trying to get to him. He wants the girl. He's just like, she's mine. And the sun's beating down on him. He's just burning, and then he just fucking explodes, which is, you know, how they die in From Dusk Till Dawn or whatever. But and maybe others, but that's just the first one off the top of my head where any sunlight touches them, boom, they blow up. And then, yeah, the car's trying to drive back, and instead of like pulling over and like covering themselves, this guy is just like, he is determined to get revenge for him betraying them, and they just burn up. And the explosion is so intense, it blows the entire car up with them in it. I thought everyone in this movie was freaking great. As I said, I had some issues with character decisions or rapey behavior. I feel like I had one more thing that I really wanted to say, and I think I ran over my notes on it, and I'm kind of bummed because there was one thing and I don't think I mentioned it. One thing here, this isn't it, but is that he goes right back home. Like once his family comes and gets and they run off together, like they go right back to his house, and it's like, did you not think they were gonna come for you? Like you just thought they were gonna let you go and you're just gonna go home and everything would be peachy keen? Like, really? You just went home? And they know where you live? Like, you know they know where you live. Like, huh? That was really stupid to me. Yeah, why would you go home? Man, shit. All right. Well, I don't think I'm gonna get what it was. It's something else, but I guess we'll just have to wonder. If I think about it, I'll put it in the comments, I guess. I don't know. I got nothing. So, anyways, big fans of Near Dark out there. I liked it a hell of a lot on this viewing. There were some things, there's some slow parts and whatnot that weren't extremely interesting, but Bill Paxton, Lance Henriksen, the style, there was a lot of neat, cool, new, interesting ideas and spins on things that I haven't seen before. I'm guessing that's probably what I wanted to talk about, something else that was like a spin, like something that's never done before, or something we never see, or a power or something. Like, I can't believe it's not coming to me, but I did like the alterations and just kind of making it their own thing, like taking the vampire thing and kind of using it, but also putting your own stamp on it, which I'm a huge fan of. That's how I write my scripts personally. I like to just take little elements. If I'm going to do a werewolf movie, or if I'm going to do that, like take what I want and then rewrite the rest. It's fucking fiction. Anyone who tells you differently is an asshole, okay? You can adjust them accordingly any way you want to. This is made up shit. Nobody has to stick and adhere to anything. Zombies can be fast, they can be slow, they can talk, they can not, they can... It's up to you. But anyway, guys. All right, so I had fun revisiting this. And as I said, I always love doing this now because I have that awesome intro thanks to Stephen Arthur. Yeah. All right, guys.